Is it the battle bus?
Oh my god! This changes everything! What the fuck? What the fuck, man?
How are we gonna get to the island now?
I don't know, I have no idea.
Hey boys, I just might have a solution.
David Hasselhoff!
Well, shit.
Hey. So I know this chapter just started, and we still have just witnessed one of Fortnite's biggest live events, and even biggest corporate shills of all time, along with a 30-day-long fucking fever dream of a Simpsons miniseason, which actually surpassed my expectations a lot. But I want to assure you that what I say in this video isn't based in recency bias. I've been grinding XP this season for the Dark Voyager's entire set because it's really cool, and I've already played a lot of matches both alone and with friends. So I just want to talk about a few things I've noticed, like things I like and things I don't like. And I'd also like to mention that my perspective here is not really that of a casual or a competitive player, because I know that a lot of people who discuss this type of shit in the Fortnite community usually think of it from a casual or competitive standpoint. I'm not doing this in either of those ways. I play Zero Build and Battle Royale too, and I don't really have a preference, so I think I have a wide range of opinions. Anyways, here's why I think Chapter 7's disappointing. We'll start with the most glaring issue and the worst part of this entire season. You cannot talk about Fortnite Chapter 7 without talking about the bus and how the bus driver was found shot and dead. The bus getting shot down is just a narrative explanation for the new surfing feature added this season. I have a huge problem with this because it's a really stupid lore explanation that doesn't make any sense, which is only around to justify a terrible new gameplay feature. Dropping into a round with no battle bus is so fucking obnoxious. You're sent into the island from a random angle like you would be normally, but this time with the added bonus of licensed music blaring in your ears and airtime that is so pathetic that you're going to have to land at an edge location no matter what you do. Not only that, but the air control when landing is unusually slidey for some reason. And it also just lags the hell out of my game. I don't know if that's a problem for anybody else, but I think it's worth mentioning. Now, I'm not going to dwell on this for much longer, but before we move on, I just want to bring some attention to how hilariously stupid this crashed battle bus side plot is. Let me paint a picture. The bus is shot down by the cube cradle, right? It's so tragic, bus driver's fucking dead. But tell me why exactly the people of the island can't just fly to the island on another one. All the way back in Chapter 1, the battle bus canonically crashed twice, and nothing about the way we reached the island changed. This wasn't unexplained either. We clearly have visibly plenty of battle buses to fall back on. So why are we fixing this bus? This one in particular? You're seriously telling me that all of the people on this island, Reload, Blitz, and OG all rely on this exact same battle bus? That's not what the fuck is happening, okay? What this is Epic disabling other game modes just to artificially drive attention back to their main mode, Battle Royale. Which is pretty funny to see from a company that loves to claim that their game is a cohesive platform, despite their obvious biases. And let's be super generous and just say that if we fly another battle bus, then the cradle will shoot it down again. Okay, then why rebuild the bus at all? Let's just take care of the giant ball in the sky before the fucking parties and the bus being rebuilt. The season's exposition is so stupid, and I hate it. And I'm extremely glad this isn't a permanent feature. Anyways, let's move on.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Okay, I'm just going to be blunt. This map is extremely lackluster. Now, this is more of a subjective matter than a lot of the other things I'm talking about here, but I can say with relative confidence that this is the emptiest map that we've ever received, with maybe the exception of Chapter 1, Season 1. Me and my friends have like all independently taken note of the lack of props inside of buildings and just the sheer monotony of a few different locations. To give some examples, Battlewood Boulevard is a pretty barren and low to the ground city locale that kind of just gets mogged by every other tilted tower stand-in, and is also truncated by this weird, awkward to traverse recreation of the LA River. Humble Hills is 4 identical houses. 4 Fields is a just depressing point of interest to me that I think tries to mimic Lazy Links, but has none of the character or whimsy of its predecessor. Sus Studios genuinely shouldn't be named on the map with how tiny it is too. Also, Painted Palms is ugly. That's entirely just my opinion, but I hope that thing gets completely blown off the map by next season. The point is, and I know this is only the chapter's first season, but a shocking amount of locations on this map are just seriously lacking in appeal. I've personally been landing at landmarks much more than usual for that reason. I want to give a special moment of honor for this retro sci-fi themed Durburger restaurant that I found really cool, and also this one research facility at the very top of the island. I also want to bring some attention to the strange Hollywood and movie theming thrown all over this new island, which to me has just felt pretty shoehorned. None of it could have been there, and my opinion on this season would not change. Speaking of shoehorned, I'm really not a fan of how American this map seems to be trying to be. Cause when you think about it, so many of Fortnite's past locations are already rooted in some implicit inspiration from contemporary America. This just feels like an unnecessary exaggeration of that. Not only that, but this map only really represents the West Coast. I know this was intentional and isn't really a problem in and of itself, but I'd have been a lot more excited to see inspirations from every other iconic part of the country if Epic was so keen on going big with this US theming. I'm honestly a little bit let down by that. I'll get to how this applies to my feelings about the Battle Pass later. Overall, I think a lot of the emptiness and lack of inspiration on this map could be easily fixed with just a few extra props and maybe an art style more akin to that of Chapter 2 or 3. You know, something that actually looks like Fortnite. Okay, I'm not a voice for everybody, but I know that I and plenty of other people are already getting sick of the realistic angle the past few chapters have gone for. I've noticed that it's a lot harder to run on low-end devices, and the art style in general is just kind of soulless to me. This so far has just not been what I'd ever expect out of a new Fortnite Chapters Island, and I mean that in a bad way. The gameplay this season is, alright. The game's playable because, of course it is. I'd say there's not really that many Fortnite seasons with objectively shitty gameplay. Gameplay is really important though, so let me talk about which parts of this season hit, and which parts shit. Starting off with the weapons, the assault rifle rotation this season is a little interesting. We have the new Deadeye assault rifle, which is an M16 inspired assault rifle with red dot sights and, wait, what the fuck? You can aim while jumping and reloading? Yeah, so there's a thing you can do now. It makes a lot of the weak points of the gameplay much more tolerable. Aiming down somebody with a red dot scope while jumping around like a fucking grasshopper makes gameplay a lot more fun, actually. If it weren't for this change, I don't know if I'd have even played half the matches I did. This weapon's just objectively good, as most red dot weapons in this game are. As of recording, the only other assault rifle in rotation is the Enforcer AR from Chapter 5 with a few slight alterations. While usually any red dot assault rifle would dominate a given season's AR meta and make any other assault weapons useless in comparison, the Enforcer does pretty crazy damage and is actually like really accurate with tap firing, so I don't know, I think it is kind of balanced. It's kind of hard to tell. I have a lot less to say about the SMGs this season. I like the dual micro SMGs. They're not really super effective, but they're extremely fun to use. The Hollow Rush SMG does pretty nasty damage and has a solid shot from medium range because of its scope. It fills a similar niche to the Veiled Precision SMG if that tickles your foo-hoosh. The shotgun choices for this season were actually pretty good too. The dual hammer shotguns function a lot like automatically firing double pumps, but with a bit more spread and less damage. Pretty fun to use surprisingly, even though I didn't like the idea at first. The iron pump is also pretty solid, just being a faster pump shotgun with more spread. I'd be comfortable with this being a recurring shotgun in future chapters. That is, if I play them, which I don't know. Now for the silly weapons that show up to make the gameplay actually fun. We have a melee weapon this season in the form of the Kill Bill Forsaken Bowblade, which is one of a few obligatory crossovers this season, as with any Fortnite season. The blade works almost identically to a Typhoon blade, but with a snappier attack pattern and 3 dashes. There's also this Destiny 2 Braytech-ass looking arc lightning gun, which is a really thematically dissonant but funny weapon. I actually like it a lot. I have also heard that a few new weapons based on the 7 will be added this season. I'll just have to wait until those come out to say anything about that though, so that's that, I guess. Now, there's also a lot of new gameplay features this season. You'll notice that the storm can change shape now. This feature started getting used near the end of the Simpsons season, and I think it's fine. It's not really offensive or that game-changing either. It's just a fun little thing that can happen. One of the most interesting additions to me was the new movement for downed players, which makes you a lot less of a helpless whelp when you're knocked. You could also use this cool self-revive item, which has actually helped me come back from otherwise totally doomed solos matches on a few occasions. They also added this wingsuit item this season. It requires a little bit of finesse to use, and you can't just kind of go flying with it immediately. You need to actually actively maneuver yourself through the air to control it. It's decent for getting around and bum rushing people, but isn't quite fast enough to let you pussy out of a fight. Which is probably a good thing, honestly. You can also drive reboot vans now, which is definitely a feature. Chapter 7 also introduced the ability to turn into the bosses you've eliminated, which replaces medallions. This mechanic kind of just turns you into a scary-ass bullet sponge for the rest of the round, at the cost of letting all of China know where you are. I feel like we could have gone without this feature, but it's here now. I prefer it over medallions, if only a little bit. As for some miscellaneous changes this season, I like the explosives in rotation. The grenade reworks are fun, and I appreciate the dynamite and clingers returning. They haven't been around in a while, and I think they should really do this with other weapons and items more. I also like ATKs being added back. I often use them over every other vehicle just because they're really fun to drive around in. Last but not least, I'd be remiss to forget rift anomalies. These are modifiers that will randomly change some element of the way the match works. So far, there's one that spawns rifts everywhere, one that grants players temporary invisibility, and another that drops care packages.
Now, wait, is it just me, or are all of those kind of boring?
A feature that appears in a ton of Fortnite seasons already, a second feature which appears in a ton of Fortnite seasons already, and a combination of 2 features used in plenty of seasons as well. As of now, the anomalies are just reused Fortnite features that appear randomly. That being said though, I don't dislike it. It's a cool idea, it's just that they're not doing much with it right now. It's also worth noting that a lot of leakers I've seen have been claiming that a lot of other anomalies are going to be added later this season. One of them brings like healing slurp rain to the map, and then there's another that gives temporary respawns, and those are a lot more interesting to me, and I hope they add more anomalies like that in the future. I will say though, if they trash this entire idea that has a ton of potential, just like they did with weather and clombos and tents and basically everything else in Chapter 3, I'm gonna be mad. Remember when they did that shit? That still annoys me. This section is going to be shorter because I don't think there's as much to say in this regard, but I'd like to mention a few things. For one, this game's UI is seriously bipolar, dude. Because why is it that Battle Royale received such fun and stylized HUD elements that are full of detail for its new chapter, but the entire emote wheel had to be integrated into the modern lockers and shitified, difficult to navigate corporate ass looking widgets? This just makes it insufferable to use emotes that aren't a part of your locker. It gets you wondering why they updated the emote wheel at all, because it worked completely fine and nobody complained about it, and they made it significantly worse? For what reason? This is something that really bothers me because Epic has had an issue of fixing things that aren't broken throughout this game's entire history, and it's a pretty common occurrence. I just don't really get it, especially when Battle Royale's updated UI is so good. And I'm not like a graphic designer or anything, but this new emote wheel is objectively worse than the last one they added. I personally think that they should really just dial back a ton of their UI and HUD elements to older versions of themselves, because this game just kind of gets harder and harder to use with every season. That's kind of its entire own topic though, so I'm just gonna leave it at that, but I feel like it needed to be addressed. Now, this season's Battle Pass. Now, what do I think of this season's Battle Pass?
I tell you, every year I recognize fewer and fewer names.
Lombard Montague, Grace McLady, Andy Colorado, the Mondo Twins, Purple Stuff, Tank Top Gay Face, Chad Zachary.
The only real redeeming quality of this season's Battle Pass is the Dark Voyagers set. It's one of the worst Battle Passes I've ever seen, honestly. My main issue with it is just how derivative it feels of just very basic concepts. They really just had to create a bunch of skins that looked like they would show up in a Hollywood production. And it's so soulless. A big issue with both this Battle Pass and this season in general, in my opinion, is just how much of it boils down to, like, hype moments and aura. And everything else is otherwise just filled with dead space. You can see it on the map with how boring any location that isn't extremely thematic is. The only really interesting areas on this map are Classified Canyon, the labs, the, maybe Wonky Land. Wonky Land's an interesting one. And a few buildings and landmarks and houses in between are, fun to look at, but throughout the entire map there exists just so little personality. And I think the Battle Pass is the same thing. And quite honestly, as much as I like the whole Dark Voyager thing, I feel like it's also suffering from the same issue, if a little less. It's still by far the most creative out of the bunch, and actually references shit that's relevant to Fortnite, but I still have an issue with the reintroduction of the entire Last Reality faction to the game. It came out of nowhere, and I think it deserved a better lead up and explanation. I also just kind of find it really funny that it's implied that this guy has been spying on us since the very beginning of Fortnite's story and is only just now doing something. It's really dumb, but I find it endearing as far as random out of nowhere story shit goes. That's really all I have to say about that. I think this chapter could still easily make itself worth its stay in the long run with some good updates and a few good seasons, but I'm not holding out hope for it. I know that sounds really negative considering Winterfest hasn't even happened yet and it's still the very first season, but I'm just far too skeptical of this chapter because of how mediocre I feel like the launch was. Of course, with the current standard of quality that this game has, you'd probably expect shit to ramp up soon, but I don't really believe Battle Royale will retain my interest for this entire season. I'll also add a season projected to be one of the longest ever, by the way. I'm just struggling to see a way they could justify the length of this season meaningfully without padding out time to an annoying degree. Like, the gameplay's nothing outstanding, the map is just too bland and uninteresting to play consistently in my opinion, and it kinda sucks. It just makes me upset. I do want to be proven wrong about this chapter, and I might make another video about it in the future depending on how things go, but I just think that this chapter launch had a ton of potential and just didn't utilize it. Personally, I'm probably just going to quit for a while once I've maxed out my battle pass. Anyways, if you watched this entire fucking thing, you should probably leave a comment because clearly you were interested in something I said, right? Like, I don't know. Anyways, bye-bye, play Fridgeville. Code on screen right now, play Fridgeville, play it now, play it, play it, play it, play it now.
I can't wait for all this shit to come out against Wonky. He's had it coming.
Fucking... We're not doing this again.
What the fuck do you mean, bro? I know what he did.
First Lil Whip, then Lil Split, and now Wonky. Oh my god, 2025 is an insane year.
I can't believe it.